no doubt, London is the lead in the world in our industry and the digital signage part of the industry, but you can see there's some magnificent things that are going on in other parts of the world, so we want to talk about some of those today. System 9 Media is located in Istanbul, and it is actually larger than 90% of the companies that are in the traditional digital signage world, business in the world, and it is an extremely profitable company. EBITDA is in excess of 20%. And the CEO and founder of System 9 Media is Kaan Akın. And Kaan, maybe we could start by you telling us a little bit more about System 9.
Okay. What we are doing is we are giving key-turn solutions to the all customers of System 9. We are doing two different jobs. One is on advertisement side, the other one is corporate system side. In advertisement side, we are making the investment and making the money from advertisements. In corporate system side, we are selling the systems or renting the systems to the companies, and then we are making recurring revenue from these companies again. What we are doing key turn is giving all solutions together. That means we are giving technical services, on-site services, system monitoring, content creation, and content management. That's why many companies are preferring to work with us. Now we are managing more than 18,000 screens in all Turkey, with extra 10 more countries out of Turkey, including England, United States, and Austria, and Belgium. That's okay. What we do.
Perfect. And Sikander Ahmed is managing director at a firm called NBK Capital. And NBK Capital made a significant investment in Kaan's company within the last 6 months, and now is in a controlling position. And Sikander, maybe you could tell us a little bit about NBK, sure, and then we'll have the background to take the conversations further.
Thank you, Steve. NBK Capital is a regional investment house providing growth capital to middle market companies in the Middle East and North Africa and Turkey region. Our investment strategy pretty much revolves around an active managed model to unlock the value in middle market growing companies. Regionally, we're focused in Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey, but with the ability to branch out of the region through our portfolio companies. And in terms of sectors, we're pretty agnostic. We do everything but real estate.
Okay. So the obvious question is, because you did a lot of investigation on this, why digital media? Why digital signage did you focus your attention on for your investment?
Of course, so we've been looking at digital signage, digital media for about a couple of years. We've been trying to understand the dynamics around the industry. So unlike the sectors that we invest in traditionally, we feel that the media sector is undergoing an evolution where a lot of the expenditure is switching from old traditional media to new media, and we feel that digital media or digital signage is going to be one of the major recipients of this shifting expenditure. Therefore, as an investor, we're always looking to find the alpha in our portfolio, and we felt that by partnering with a company which is a leading provider of digital signage solutions, we would be able to achieve that alpha. Now, in our region, when we look around, System 9 was one of the leading companies that we've seen. In Turkey, given its geographical and strategic location, we feel that as the prevalence of digital media starts to move east, I think the leading indicators are indicating that it is moving east. We feel that System 9 is going to be positioned very well to capitalize on that growth.
Okay, perfect. So, Kaan, banking is a sector, a vertical that you've focused on at System 9. And if you look at banking around the world and their use of digital signage in the branch banks, it's certainly on the radar screen, but it's not one of the largest vertical markets in the world. Yet you've got a significant amount of focus on that. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on in the banking world?
Yes, in these days, in our world, all banks are pushing the customers to the internet sites for making for giving less service to the customer, everybody can make everything for self-service. But there's a reality. When they open new branches, their profitability is going up. And also, many people, especially in our region, likes to go to the bank branches, and they have to take their time there. Because when you get inside, for example, you have to take a queue ticket and get inside, you have to wait minimum 20 minutes. In this 20 minutes, our systems are integrated with the queue systems in the bank stations. That's why the people has to watch what we are showing them. The banks understood that they are giving very good advertisement inside. Everybody has to watch them. Because of the queue system. Forget about everything, just checking the queue, everybody has to look at the systems. Now we are managing more than 2,700 branches in banks, 7 different banks, and they're making this more every year because what they see is they have very good locations also. Sometimes they are using the screens looking out of the window because the location is very good. The people walking around can see the video walls looking out of the window. They are using it as an advertisement tool again.
So the screens are not only inside, people are in a
yes.
queue, but you have some looking out to the
Yes.
outside. Okay. And you alluded to in your introductory comments that the company really has 2 sides of the business.
Yes.
You run these networks as a network operator, but you also have digital media advertising sales assets. Why do both? Is there something unique about Turkey, or what's in it? Why did you decide to do both?
The answer is very easy, because we are giving services to the same customers. For example, we have a CTV network at the hairdresser salons. It's working on more than 300 branches with 2,000 screens nearly. And we have a gas station network, more than 500 different stations.
That's BP, right?
That's BP and the OPET stations. These companies are using their systems. For example, all banks can give advertisement to the advertisement networks of System 9. And also the banks or the other companies that we serve, they are the same customer because it's very easy to sell this advertisement both sides for us. That's why we entered this, and they're happy working with us. I think how can I say this in English? I think this network will be growing up very fast. After NBK, we started to make new locations. Customers love the systems. Customers are using the system inside of their branches. They know the system. That's why they can easily give advertisement to the other side.
Okay, good.
Can I just jump in?
Sure.
Put the microphone on, Andrew. Many people in the room will remember the hairdressing salon networks we had in the UK. So there'll be some smiles with iView and a few others. And also we've had some petrol forecourt networks, like Amscreen's petrol forecourt network, and of course in the US there's a successful one. So it sounds like you have a couple of really good niche networks. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. Have you looked at the billboard sector at all? Is that something that you've looked at? Are the I don't know enough about Clear Channel's business, for example, but are there a Clear Channel or Streuer or those sorts of people in your region as well?
Same companies are located in Turkey also. They're doing the same business. We mostly going to the indoor media.
Okay.
The other outdoor companies are doing their jobs, but we are giving service to them with our software and with our technical side and the components.
Right. Okay.
But we are not trying to sell advertisement on these networks.
Okay. And just forgive my ignorance as an Englishman who's been to Istanbul maybe once or twice. It's a lovely, lovely city.
Thank you.
You have the same suppliers? I mean, Christie Digital or
Yes.
Barker or NEC, Samsung?
Yes. All companies are located in Turkey. NEC, LG, Samsung, always, 2 Korean companies is the most fighting companies in all sectors, but all of them are there. We can buy any screen to any customer, no problem for us.
Right, okay.
I can just add to what you're saying. When we were looking at the company for investment, we had the same kind of questions. How developed is the market for digital signage? Because even when you look at the US and Europe, it's still evolving. So taking it one step further, when you're looking at somewhat Eastern markets, we had exactly the same concerns. But when we dug deeper, we saw that some of the leading indicators such as smartphone penetration and internet penetration is amongst the leading in the world. So at about 92% of smartphone penetration, they're about top 5 markets which have that. So we just felt that given those indicators, just the relevance to screens is going to be increasing. So it would be a logical choice for it to move that way.
Okay, yes, that's great. Steve?
Good, sure. You took some of my time. Do I get it back now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so in a traditional investment world, let's just focus on venture capital. I know you're not venture capital. The venture capital world will publicize that if they make 10 investments and one of them is a success, they consider that to be a really good deal. Growth capital is quite different. And I remember the first time I spoke with you and I said, well, what are your objectives here? He goes, well, we have 2 of them. Number 1 is we don't lose money. And the second one is don't forget about number 1. So if you look at that, and your NBK Capital, I'm not trying to be overly flattering here, has had an impeccable record with success. How do you do that, and how do you project that approach to System 9?
Right, well, that's an interesting question. Well, I think the common theme with all our investments is activism. We're very active investors. We have a hands-on approach to managing companies, and we pretty much take the bull by its horns. Now, given our approach as activist investors and the changing dynamics of the digital media industry, I think we would like to focus on 2 key areas when we interact with System 9. The first area is creating the market. So as we notice everywhere that the digital signage or digital media market is evolving, but one of the major problems we face is educating people. People are not aware of the measurability, the awareness of digital media compared to old media. So I think for us, the very important thing is to have competent people in the right positions who can educate media buyers, who can educate media buyers and corporates as well to shift their strategy to a digital strategy. So I think creating the market is one of the very important things we're going to focus on. And then the next thing I think we feel is important is equipping the management, which already has all the capabilities, to continue with this track record. So in terms of making sure that they've got all the funding available, they've got the exposure that's required, all these things need to be checked in to make sure that we're successful in System 9 as well.
Sikandar, was there anything this morning that really resonated with what you've just said about the smartphone usage and the way that maybe in Turkey and the Middle East, you're missing out on generations of things that we've gone through? Because we've gone through from the edge phones, 2G, 3G, smartphone, and you always seem to be leapfrogging above that. Was there anything that resonated in this morning's sessions on that?
We were actually discussing, and one thing that is missing in Turkey and that part of the region is the measurability and research that people conduct to be able to sell the media. So when we were looking at the research on how the primary media and how it switches to the digital signage, nothing of that sort is being done. So we feel that we're in a position where if we start measuring, we start making people aware. I agree we're far behind on that, but we still want to be the leaders in that. So I think those very basic concepts of ROI measurement and awareness and analytics is still missing.
Okay.
We talked about banking, but quick serve restaurants also are something that your company has done pretty well. And I'm going to have to read the list here because I can't memorize as many of these. But McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, Domino's, Popeyes, amongst other, the Turkish bagel place you talked about. By the way, if you want to see one of these, go down to Bond Street Station. Right at Bond Street Station. All the digital signage in there.
If you mention Khan's name, you get a 50% discount.
Right. Also, you mentioned these other countries that you're in with this.
Yes.
Why digital signage in QSR? What do they see?
QSR is the star of this year, according to my company, because we are going very fast in this sector also. But there's one thing very clear. The boss of Burger King in Turkey told us that after I started using digital menu board, my sales are growing up nearly 15% to 20%. That was enough for everybody. After that, all companies talked with each other, for taking reference. With this reference, many of them started and saw that really it's different and the customers are coming more. After that, I think more than 700 different branches are using many boards. Nearly 300 different shopping malls. We have many boards managing from the center. Like you said, Burger King, Arby's, Subaru, whatever you remember, most of the famous brands are using this system now. But there's one thing here, very important, content. Just putting many boards and just giving the prices is nothing. If the content is not very good, there's no difference than the static one.
Okay.
That's why it's going very fast.
Very good. Sikander, obviously when you make this kind of an investment, at some point, because it's in your DNA, you're thinking about an exit event, you know, at some point. But can you give your perspective on valuations now in this industry?
Of course. So, as I said, we've been following this sector for the past couple of years, and broadly speaking, out-of-home valuations have increased steadily over the past couple of years. And we feel that for some of the same reason we've been talking all day, as new media becomes more prevalent and starts taking a greater share of that advertisement wallet, I feel that digital out-of-home is going to be one of the main beneficiaries, and which in turn is going to point towards growth and a steady increase in valuations over the next few years. The second most important point, I think, within the digital out-of-home sector is that over the last couple of years, there's been a significant filtering of companies and business models. And I feel that now companies are turning the corner on profitability and sustaining robust business models. So as that happens and the industry matures, I believe the sector will start to command premium valuations.
Okay, perfect. And since we keep talking verticals with you, Khan, retail has been something that's on your radar screen, but you haven't emphasized as much as some of these other verticals. But within the past month, you won a very large tender.
Yes.
That really takes you right in the middle of retail. Someplace around 9,000 screens with the largest mobile phone company in Turkey at Turkcell. Can you talk about what you're going to do there?
Yes, this is a very good project. I think it's going to be a milestone for us, new milestone for us, because 9,000 screens is too much. And also, it's not only same style. There's many different things in different shops. For example, the company has more than 1,200 different branches, but we are not just producing same thing to the all branches. We are giving different things to every branch. For example, some of them using video walls 2x2 looking out of the window. Some of them using inside touch screens for interactivity with the customer. Some of them using vertical screens, 42-inch or 55-inch chains, just for giving the IDs. That's why this project is very important, because after that many people want to use this more. Well, we'll be using this more because we are trying to give whatever we can give to them, because too many people will see this, too many new company workers will see this and want to take this to their company later. I think this is going to be the largest project of 2015. We started this project at the end of last month. I think it's going to be going on until the end of the year, because it's very large.
Okay, very good. And one more question for you. On the video that we kicked this session off with, it really zeroed in. You can't help but see the content that was created on those screens. I assume you've created the content. And what people should know is his company, that's how Adrian became familiar with you, was nominated for 2 Gala Awards this past fall and won 2 awards at the recent Digital Signage Expo in Las Vegas last month. So can you talk about content, that your customers come to you for the content, and talk about that a little bit in Turkey?
I always say my customers to also everybody. Buying the system, buying the software, buying the hardware is nothing. if you are buying a digital signage system or digital out-of-home system, whatever it is, not important, content is the king. You have to give very good content. You have to prepare the content according to the customer needs, according to the viewers' needs. You have to understand them. After that, these systems are really good for the buyer. That's why we are working more than 20 people just for content creation. After that, for content management, there's 5 or 6 different people just for managing the systems. The key turn solutions means, according to me, giving very good content and content creation. The others, technical services, on-site services, everybody can do this by making agreements with the other outsourced companies. But the content is the most important side. That's why we are dealing with this part too much.
How much ambition do you have as a business outside of Turkey? Ambition, desire to grow.
I can start and Khan can add.
Coming to the UK.
Thanks, Tom.
So I think so.
You go on, please.
When we invested in System 9, our ambition was to use System 9 as a platform and make it into the regional leader, which encompasses Eastern Europe and the Middle East. And we've already started making inroads in those geographies. We feel that if you look at Eastern Europe, there's a lot of interesting countries there which have no penetration in terms of good companies operating there. So we find that as a very big opportunity. And then when you're talking about the Middle East being based out of Dubai, digital signage is actually just going crazy over there. It's expanding. Everything is becoming digital because it's one of the leading retail hubs in development. So we feel there's huge growth opportunities in those regions.
Right, okay.
Middle East still virgin. There's still many things to do there because nobody started to do big projects there, especially for the many-board project. QSR's projects is going to be very good for the next years, I think.
Okay, so we've spent much of the time talking about the corporate side, we call corporate the infrastructure, the traditional digital signage, yet advertising represents about 40% of your business.
Yes.
Sikander, can you talk about the advertising side, the digital advertising side?
So when we, again, I keep going back to the same, but when we invested in System 9, being 40%, we felt that was a huge opportunity for growth. And we feel that with time, even the valuations for advertisement-focused companies will start to converge towards the larger out-of-home multiples, which we're seeing right now. That being said, I think the advertisement business is a bit tricky. There have been a lot of companies that have come into the advertisement side of digital out-of-home, but there's a couple of things which can lead to being successful or unsuccessful. The main thing is that the contracts that these companies, and when we were doing our due diligence on System 9, that was one of the major plus points, that they've got these large long-term contracts with the retail sites or the sites that they have their own screens on, which is very important because with time, if competition starts and you lose these contracts, you're not going to be doing well. And secondly, the very important thing in the advertising side is focus. Either you're focused on a particular vertical or you're focused on a particular demographic. I think if you start going to mass market, then you start competing with TV, which becomes a bit confusing. So I think the value add on the advertisement side is to keep your focus with measurable ROI so that you can convince your customers of the medium.
Well, good. I guess there's a couple of key things. Number one is, yes, London is leading the world in this, but there indeed are other parts of the world that are doing some really magnificent things in our industry, both on the digital signage side and on the digital advertising side. And also, one of the things that really intrigued me about System 9 Media is that this is a very nice marriage between the investor, the majority investor, and the company. Because Adrian and I have seen a lot of these kinds of things around the world, and that marriage is not always the best marriage because objectives aren't aligned. And you could just see from here, objectives are aligned, and I think it projects to success. Thank you, gentlemen.
Great, thank you very much.